I'm so glad you're with me today. And today we're going to be talking about putting our faith into action. And get something nice and warm to drink or cold, whatever you like. This is alternative coffee that I just love drinking every day. So, putting your faith into action. We're journaling through James, and I'm doing this on my blog and on YouTube. So, you'll find this in a blog post. So, do you have faith without action? You know, we're supposed to not rely on our works to get us to heaven. It's not works that count. And many people think that it is our works, or they inadvertently, without realizing it, subconsciously, that is what they're doing. And I want to encourage you in ways that will help you learn not to do that. So, do you want to put your faith to action and be a believer who lives by faith but has action to show that you're believing in Jesus? So we're going to see how that happens. It really isn't enough that we have faith in Jesus Christ. I mean, it is enough, but we want to take it to the next level and not keep on living an ungodly life. Too often people do that. They get saved and they don't change how they're acting. And that just isn't the way the Bible teaches us to do this. So I want to encourage you and challenge you to do this. One way I did this was I purged the toys, books, videos, pictures, anything that would distract me from living a life focused on my Savior. And that doesn't mean that I'm a minimalist or don't have anything in my home. I do. But I just didn't want things that that just would distract from that. And there are toys today that point to Satan, and movies that are ungodly to watch and stuff like that, that you can take that where you feel you're being led. So let's dig in and see what James 2:14 through 26 says. I'm, again, not going to read the whole thing. I'll read some verses, and we'll see where this takes us. So the key verse, I feel, is the last verse. And it's for, as a body without the Spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. In other words, when a person dies, you can tell when they've just died that the life and the spirit that was in their eyes has left them. And that by that we know that the body without the Spirit is dead. And that even can be spiritually, that you're dead spiritually when you don't have God's Spirit living in you, when you have the wrong spirit. So in the same way, faith without works is also dead. So we're going to look at faith and works in our actions. So I want you to stop and take time to read and think about James 2:14 through 26. So just pause the video for a minute and just listen, read it, and then come back and listen to me. And you'll see where I'm going on this a little bit better because you'll have some background on what it says. So, cleaning up my act on the outside is what I'm looking for. And it's good and it's an important step to take. So even purging my home, that was like the first step, but it also needs to be my actions. And James is telling us to move it to the next level and put our faith into action. And don't you love how James is so direct, so to the point, it could almost seem offensive, except that if you're like me, I want that. I want to know exactly what it is that I need to change, and that I need to change and make my actions come from my faith. So James 2:14 says, "What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith, but does not have works? Can faith save him?" So we need both. And faith is not enough. And this is why many people are active in church activities, and they teach Sunday school, they're singing in the choir, and on committees, they're cleaning the church, helping in many other ways. But sometimes they don't even have the faith to go along with their works. They're relying on their works. And I help in Sunday school, so that doesn't mean that I'm saying you shouldn't help, or if you're helping, that you don't have faith. We want both of the things to go together. So if you are a mother with several littles or a lot of littles and or teenagers, this may not be your season to help and be active in church. I just want to say that because I don't want you listening to me say that and I feel guilt over it. I homeschooled my kids and I did nothing at church during those years. I was a support group leader and that took a little bit of effort, and that was as far as I took it. And I couldn't do anything else. My children were far too important to me. And so no matter what season you are currently in, you can show your faith by reaching out to a friend who's in need. And it talks about that in here, and we'll look at that. Our faith is not the dormant, sleeping kind of faith. It is an action word. It's a verb. It's doable. So your faith is something that you want to put into action, like a verb takes action in a sentence. And it's an outpouring. It's our expression of our faith. And so taking action and doing your faith. So we want to be doing our faith. So in order to do something about your faith, it is important to prepare for action. Otherwise, your efforts will be in your own strength and do nothing more than show off your talents and abilities, with the ending result of depleted energy, where you just lose your energy because you did way too much thinking that it's what will help you get to heaven, or thinking that we just should do that. And that's why sometimes people they lose their energy so much, because there's just a few people that are doing the things and living them out and doing things at a church. Okay, doing for your friend ought to be energizing because you are doing it for Christ. And so that should be your motivation in doing things, is that you're doing it for Christ. So when you make a meal, or you call a friend, or you put a card in the mail for her, which is rare anymore these days, isn't it? You're doing it for Christ. And so it energizes you while you're doing it, and even the thought afterwards that you're happy that you did it for Christ. Okay, here's some simple things that you can do to prepare for opportunities to help and encourage a friend. So you want to be prepared. You just can't go out there and do it. You every day need to get prepared. So the first thing is to get into God's Word every single day. And I don't care if you're a mom of littles. You don't have to spend an hour. You can spend 5 or 10 minutes. I took care of my twin granddaughters for 18 months when they were newborns. And I would put them both in my arms with both bottles, and I'd kind of get it cocked just right. But first I would set up on a stool. I was on a slider, and I put my laptop, so I could see it big enough to see, because I was sitting away from it. And I would read the Bible in the middle of the night. So there are ways. And it doesn't mean you have to read a lot. Doesn't mean you have to study it in the same ways. So I just encourage you. This summer, I had my grandkids all day, and 5 days a week. I had a very short quiet time, so I didn't spend more than 10 or 15 minutes, and sometimes it was 5, and they would get there. So pray fervently is the second one, for specific friends as God brings them to your mind. I would not just wait for them to come to my mind. Every day I would rewrite the names of the people my friends that I was praying for that week. And I kind of rotated. And sometimes, because this summer I was really pretty busy with my grandkids, I was just writing them down and thinking about them for a minute was about the extent of my prayers. So believe God is a third one. Believe God is going to do something through your life. And that is possible, where God can use you. Not that you are doing these things where you get the credit for helping in Sunday school or teaching Sunday school or cleaning the church or whatever it is you do. Believe God is going to do something through your life. And nothing you do is insignificant. Even I used to clean the church when I was in high school. And that wasn't insignificant, even though it wasn't a job where I would be known for it. Okay, number 4 is do something for a friend. Reach out to encourage and affirm her in Jesus. And it could be a meal. But a lot of times I can't do a meal because my friends live half an hour away and or even an hour away. But you can text them, call them up, or send them a card. And a card is so rare anymore. So you can do those things. So another thing is an illustration of a friend in need is the next section. James 15 through 16 says, if a brother or sister, James chapter 2, verses 15 through 16. If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and fulfilled, but you do not give them the things that are needed for the body, what does it profit? So they're naked, they have no clothes, or they don't have nice clothes. I would suppose it doesn't mean naked in the full sense of the word, but like their clothes are really worn out. They don't have many or any more than one. And they are destitute. They don't have their daily food or enough of it. It's not too much that we find this today in our society, but you might find them being needy emotionally, or maybe they don't have enough to buy new things like you do, or to buy the quality of food you do. You can help them in some way. These two verses are painting a picture or illustration to help you get an idea of what our works should look like when they reflect our faith. So let's just say that you know a couple at church who have no money for food or clothing, and the husband is out of his job. They're like worried about that and everything. Or do you greet them and chat with them after church and then end with, God bless you, have a wonderful day, and that's the extent of which you take it? Or you culture a heart that is sensitive to the need of other believing sisters. A lot of times we don't take the time to really ask people questions enough to find out if they're destitute or not, because most people that really are in need aren't out there telling you, and they, whether it's an emotional need or a physical or financial need, they don't always tell you. The ones who do are maybe looking for something, and they aren't always truly honest about it. But that's why it says the believers in here. It says brother or sister is naked, okay, or without. And it's the believers, because all of us have had probably from time to time somebody that was homeless or whatever. And I'm not saying to neglect that in any way, but that there are people that are right under our nose that maybe aren't homeless, that are really needy in some ways, that are believers. And these are the people that we are to help first. And so don't forget to ask your friend, how are you really doing? When they say, you ask them, how are you doing? And they say, fine. And no, how are you really doing? And ask her what you can do to help her. And it might be just listening to her. It might be in some other way. Okay, faith put into action by doing. That's also faith by itself. If it does not have works, is dead. That's James 2:17. And but someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without your works. And in the same way, that works without faith is dead, so faith without works is dead. We need to make our faith into a verb and put action to what we believe. We need to be doing. And it is possible, even for a mom who has littles, who doesn't get out too much, to reach out. And are you on social media? Because if you are, most of us are, you can reach out even across social media platforms. And you can DM somebody, and you can reach out on Facebook privately and reach their needs. I know a young mom who reads my blog, who has 5 littles who are about under 7 or 8, and she often posts Bible verses or shares a good sermon or article encouraging others in her faith. And she keeps it balanced by sharing cute pictures of her kids. So there's an example of a way you can do it. And I know another mom who is not on social media, And she has a teenager come over weekly in hopes that she will encourage this young girl to make her walk with Jesus real. And she also invites several young mothers to visit her to encourage herself and these ladies. So there are ways. It's just like for me, it's 5 months out of the year. I have my grandkids and I'm encouraging them and helping their mom and dad out with their busy schedule because of that, by doing that. So never forget that you are influencing your littles to want to copy you. And the children in your life, whether they're your grandchildren, your own children, or other children, you can influence them. They're watching you, and they're watching how you live out your faith as an action. If they see no action, they're likely not to want to have anything to do with it when they grow up. And so no matter how you spend your time each day, whether you're homeschooling, working from home, or you're in an office or retail store, you can find creative ways to reach out to other ladies who are needy in some way. So just to go over this again, make a meal for a new mom. Text another mom and encourage her to keep going. Write a real note on real stationery to someone, and you'll bless them so much with that personal note in their real mailbox. I was gonna say inbox. So call a friend. I know we text a lot, but pick up the phone and call a friend, not to gossip, by saying I'm praying for you and really not meaning it, but really reach out to them without gossip and without talking about yourself too much at all. And give a friend a day without her children maybe, and that's always a blessing to a young mom. That's another way to live out your actions. If you are a homebody, you can take a child in for a day or a few children. I hope you've been encouraged by this today, and I want to know, what other verses is God speaking to your heart? Do you have other verses that are similar that would complement this? Share it in the comments. And I want to share with you that I have a course on journaling through James that takes you through James in close to a month, with a short video for each day, and it has a workbook. And the purpose of stretching it out like that is so that I encourage you to get into James and study it and to learn what God's speaking to your heart. I think James is very important for women. And without having to take a long time each day. If you only have 15 minutes, you do it for 15 minutes and pick up where you left off the next day. And you don't have to feel you have to have an hour, because we don't always have an hour in all seasons of our lives. So I hope this blessed you, and you have a wonderfully blessed day. Bye.